All right, what we're working on here, we're looking at a data set that's already been collected for you, and what we're going to do is just simply practice calculating mean, median, and standard deviation using Google Sheets. First, we must have an understanding of how psychologists perform research. Now, simply, this is using the scientific method, similar to many other scientists, researchers like biologists, chemists, sociologists, and so on. The scientific method is a standard way of making observations, gathering data, forming theories, and interpreting results. Observation leads to measurement. So let's assume that I've already conducted the observation phase of this study by collecting test scores from male and female students. After I have the data set, what I'm going to do is hypothesize what I expect to find. So my hypothesis here is female students will score higher than the male students. Now, a counter hypothesis, or what we call the null hypothesis, is an alternate. The null hypothesis, female students will score lower than the male students. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate our data here, interpret the results, and form a conclusion. So, first, with the male population, to find the mean or the average score of male test scores, all we're going to do is simply type an equal sign, followed by the word average. Now what we're going to do is go into our male portion of the data set, click on our top cell, and simply drag down. As you can see here, we're measuring in cells A6 to cell A14. Simply press enter, and there we have our mean. In a similar way, to find median, we type equal median, and in the same way again, we're going to click in A6 to A14, click and drag, enter gives us our median of 88. Now to find the standard deviation, or to see how far away test scores are deviating or growing away from our class average, we are going to type STDEV, and again the same way by clicking and dragging in our data set, enter. 8.703 would be our standard deviation for the male data set. Just for more practice, let's go through and do the female population. Again, equal sign followed by average, enter. Now we're in the female portion here now, so we're going to type in B6 and drag to B14, enter, which gives us our mean. Moving on with the median, same way, click and drag, enter, standard deviation, same thing, STDV, standard deviation, same thing, click and drag. Lastly, so we can compare our results for future data to the class scores, what we're going to do, again, same thing, equal sign, average, and this time what we're going to do is we're going to start in the male at 96, and we're going to click and drag over to female and down through our data set. Simply press enter. Gives us a class mean or average of 83.5 on that test. Again, for the median, equal sign, followed by median. Same thing, we're going to start in A6 to B6, and all the way down to A14, B14. Enter, 84.5 for our median. And lastly, for our standard deviation equals standard deviation, selecting our entire data set, simply enter. So now, in a very quick manner, we were able to come up with numbers rapidly by using Google Sheets. We could go through and use our standard deviation equation and handwrite it out, which would probably take us 10, 15, 20, 30, who knows how long. So using Google Sheets is a very simple and effective way to gather our data into a measurement and able to interpret our results much quicker. So Back to our hypothesis, female students will score higher than male students. So by comparing our averages or our means, we can see here that male students scored an average of 84, whereas females scored an average of 83. Therefore, we must reject the hypothesis. So what I want you to do here under our conclusion is we're going to either reject or fail to reject simply by highlighting. Let's just fill that with yellow to indicate what our results will be. In the event that the hypothesis were to be inconclusive and we selected our null hypothesis, let's say that it was reversed and I said female students will score lower than male students, null hypothesis, female students will score higher than male students. In this case, we would fail to reject the hypothesis, meaning that we prove our hypothesis to be true. Lastly, for this assignment, we'll go down here into cell B19 and simply just define mean, median, and standard deviation, just so I know that you have an understanding of what these measurements mean and how they're significant to our data.